Part 156. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1551. Lu Zhang and his wife and Yes Yangqian were not people who liked to gossip. They couldn't stand it, and Su Maixiang came with great fanfare to take Shenfeng for examination, so the news that Shenfeng was fine spread quickly. About half a month later, Feng Qingxiu told Peng Aiheng that Shenqing and Su Maixiang were divorced. Divorce? Feng Qingxiu was surprised. Yes, we are divorced. The army approved it? The divorce procedures were completed yesterday. Peng Aiheng was picking up the solace of her shoes and rubbing the needle on her scalp. Su Maixiang was not willing to do so at first. She also divorced comrade Shenqing. How could she have money to buy clothes and shoes? Feng Qingxiu was silent, and after a moment she said, "How come you were willing to divorce later?" Peng Aiheng smiled and said, "After the divorce, comrade Shenqing gave her 170 yuan a month for living expenses." 170 yuan, Shenqing's salary plus allowance is only more than 200 yuan, right? I know Lu Zhang well, and Lu Jiang's salary is at this level, that is, the allowance based on the number of years in the military is a little more than Lu Jiang's at that time. Yes, 170 yuan. Shenqing originally wanted to give 150 yuan, but Su Maixiang wanted 200 yuan. This woman is really cruel. Comrade Shenqing's salary is 175 yuan. Plus 25% of the allowance, the current salary is basically all given to her. She and Shenfeng can only live on the allowance, and she still feels that she is at a disadvantage. Peng Aiheng shook his head and sighed. Feng Qingxiu pursed her lips, unable to comment on Su Maixiang's choice. As a woman, dressing up is natural. If it were not due to the limitations of the times, Feng Qingxiu would dress herself up well and wear her favorite jewelry, but she also has to take care of her family life, right? On the basis of filling your stomach and having spare money, it is human nature to dress up. On the other hand, it is really not advisable to go hungry just to dress up, or even to have the intention of extortion. Is there a time limit for the amount of money Shenqing paid to Su Maixiang? Isn't it meant to be paid to him as long as he lives to old age? Feng Qingxiu suddenly asked. Peng Aiheng was stunned, and then said, "Yes, comrade Shenqing will have to pay as long as she lives. Even if Su Maixiang remarries, comrade Shenqing will still have to pay the money on a monthly basis." Su Maixiang said, "What is called alimony abroad?" Fee. Shenqing agreed. "It's not okay if you don't agree." If you don't agree, Su Maixiang will not agree to the divorce. After hearing this, Feng Qingxiu felt a little pity for Shenqing. She was really not a kind person, and Su Maixiang was too. She could only live a good life, but she had to go through the trouble of getting a divorce. Do you feel that divorce has no impact on you? Let's not talk about them anymore, comrade Aiheng. Has your son's matter been resolved? Feng Qingxiu was more concerned about this. As the wife of an army commander, one of Feng Qingxiu's responsibilities is to always care about the family situation of soldiers and subordinate soldiers. Peng Aiheng sighed, "It's settled now." So? A solution is a solution. If it's not solved, it's not solved. How does this count? Lao Zhou didn't want to agree to all the requests of Zheng Yuanyuan's family. We simply can't do it. Knowing that Zheng Yuanyuan's character is so bad, Lao Zhou will not agree to the marriage between my son and her no matter what. Feng Qingxiu hummed. After knowing who Zheng Yuanyuan was, if Camp Commander Zhou and Peng Aiheng still agreed to their marriage and tried their best to meet the conditions put forward by Zheng Yuanyuan's family and Zheng Yuanyuan, then there would be no need for these two couples to have a close relationship. If they taste the bitter consequences in the future, it will be their own fault. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1552. Peng Ai-hung sighed and continued while picking up the solace of her shoes. At that time, Zhou Chang and Zhen Yuanyuan were both in the army and had not yet left, so Lao Zhou and I told them that we would give them the bicycle tickets and locker tickets, and another 500. The money is used as the cost of their wedding, which is what we want as parents. If we can get married, we will get married. If we can't, forget it. We will let them think of other gifts such as sewing machines, watches, radios, and woolen coats. Of course they don't agree, right? Feng Qingxiu didn't even have to think about it. Peng Ai-hung nodded and said, yes, I don't agree. Zhen Yuanyuan herself doesn't stand out. She is such a shrewd and cunning girl. She lets my son speak for everything, even when he wants a woolen coat. This child is really obsessed with the money he wants. Just like anything, we can't lack it. If it's missing, he won't be able to get married, and he won't recognize us as parents. It is difficult for Peng Ai-hung to describe the shock and grief that her husband and wife felt when they heard this sentence. Lao Zhou was also sad. He raised such a big son and broke up with his parents over this matter. It is simply a wolf-hearted thing. What else can we expect? What? With this obviously wasted money, it is better to raise the following 2 children. So, Lao Zhou directly told them to go wherever they came from. Anyway, we parents have done our best to him. The responsibility of nurturing. Feng Qingxiu shook her head. Are they not making trouble? It's making a fuss, so what? We can't beat Zhen Yuanyuan or scold Zhen Yuanyuan, so why can't we beat and scold our own son? Old Zhou immediately kicked Zhou Chang out, and Zhen Yuanyuan didn't have the nerve to stay. I'm afraid the marriage won't happen, right? Feng Qingxiu said. Zhen Yuanyuan is obviously an extremely selfish person. She only gets rich through marriage, or she wants to get things that she can't afford or can't buy through marriage. Once she fails to achieve her goal, she will probably break up with Zhou. It's good to separate, Peng Ai-hung said bitterly. Our family doesn't want such a daughter-in-law. I just hope that Zhou Chang can see people's hearts clearly after going through this incident. Lao Zhou and I don't ask him for anything in return, and we don't ask for anything in return. What a well-educated daughter-in-law he married. I just hope that she will be a responsible child who is willing to live a down-to-earth life with him. Zhen Yuanyuan is quite handsome, not to mention thin and tender, and she is well-groomed, but I am afraid that she is the second Sumai Xiang. Without Sumai Xiang's life, I want Sumai Xiang's life. Sumai Xiang is currently considered a popular person in the army compound, and she is a notorious one. After completing the divorce procedures with Shen Qing, she immediately packed her luggage and prepared to return to the capital to join her uncle. She packed more than 20 bags of clothes and shoes and sent them all to her uncle's house in the capital. The soldier in charge of sending and receiving letters and packages almost ran away with a broken leg. She wore a woolen coat and blue tang leather shoes, with a big red bandana tied around her neck, and left with her head held high. After she left, Shen Qingkai took his son home, only to be faced with a mess. In addition to the bedding and clothes that Sumai Xiang took away, the remaining bedding at home and the clothes and shoes of Shen Qing and his son were all cut to pieces and cut into thin strips that could not be put together. The cooking pots and cooking pots were all smashed and smashed. All the dishes were thrown to the ground and shattered into pieces. Even a few simple pieces of furniture were scratched beyond recognition by Sumai Xiang with sharp tools. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1553. When the news came out, it was mainly because everyone saw Shen Qing cleaning up the room and transporting garbage. The entire army compound was shocked. They couldn't believe that Sumai Xiang was such a person. So shameless and vicious. As a husband, despite the divorce, Shenqing has done his best, while Su Maixiang can be so vicious that she doesn't leave anything finished for her ex-husband's children. Feng Qingxiu was also stunned, never expecting that things would turn out like this. At this time, she received a call from Bai Shui that was transferred to her office. The first thing she said was, "Su Maixiang is divorced." "How do you know? It's only been 2 or 3 days since the divorce, right? Did the news reach the border guards?" Bai Shui said, "Can you not know?" As soon as Su Maixiang returned to the capital, she called Lao Su and cried, saying how wronged she was and how unkind she was, and scolded Shenqing so hard that she was so bloody. Now she has returned to the capital with nothing, no job, no savings, and her life is almost unbearable. She only asks Lao Su to give her 100 yuan a month as living expenses. Shenqing will pay her 170 yuan every month until Shenqing dies. Feng Qingxiu couldn't help but said. Bai Shui was stunned. 170 yuan? Did I hear correctly? How much is Shenqing's monthly salary? Feng Qingxiu said angrily, "You heard me right, I said it right, and you heard it right. Shenqing's monthly salary plus allowance totals more than 200. If she doesn't give her 117, Su Maixiang won't get divorced." "Why?" "If you knew what Su Maixiang did, you would know why Shenqing would rather give money than get a divorce." Feng Qingxiu told Bai Shui without any concealment, Shenqing's divorce should be for the sake of her children, and then Su if Maixiang continues to teach like this, Shenfeng will definitely grow crooked, and now it is a little crooked, and Shenqing is trying his best to get it back. Bai Shui blinked her eyes. As she grew older and more experienced, she thought that when she was young, she was shameless enough in trying to follow a dragon and a phoenix. It turned out that there was Su Maixiang who was even better than herself, which was simply unheard of. "I will tell Lao Su exactly what Su Maixiang did." Bai Shui was quite happy at the misfortune. The relationship between her and her stepson and stepdaughter was very bad, and they were incompatible. Su Maixiang asked Lao Su on the phone. The person to be introduced to her must be a soldier, and he must be a soldier with a higher rank than Shenqing, preferably a division commander or above. He said that she would live a better life, so that Shenqing would regret it, and so that her parents' family could join forces. I told Lao Su that she was too whimsical, and what kind of virtues did she not have in mind? Feng Qingxiu was speechless for a moment. "Are you ready to find a home so soon?" "No, what Lao Su told me is definitely true. I just heard Lao Su say that they are also in the Wuchen army, so I called you to ask." The call was not in vain. What Su Maixiang did was simply shocking. It's an eye-opener for me. The girls in the old Su family are really hard to describe. Compared with Su Maixiang, Su Lanfang, who is married to Li Jun, is so virtuous that it makes people hate her. Feng Qingxiu quickly remembered who Su Lanfang was. Because she liked Li Jun, she had to compromise in everything. She was so angry that she still tolerated Li Jun's flirting, hoping that he would turn around like a prodigal son like her parents-in-law said. Marriage is like drinking water and knowing whether it is warm or cold. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1554. After hearing Feng Qingxiu's words, Bai Shui nodded. "That's a good thing. Everyone just lives their own life. Let's not talk about them. How are you doing there?" Feng Qingxiu is more concerned about the comrades who are still stationed in the border defense force. The living conditions there are far inferior to those here. Although they often send things there, they still miss them often. Bai Shui thought for a while. "It's all good, you don't have to worry. Didn't anything big happen in the army? How is sister-in-law Xiuying? Is sister Sanbao in good health? How are Comrade Yang and Comrade Fang Ning doing now? I haven't contacted them for a long time. How is sister Tianling's life? Are Du Xiaotao, Jin Zizhu, and the others okay? And your daughter?" A series of questions came out. Bai Shui couldn't help laughing and said, It's all good, it's all good, it's all good. Feng Qingxiu felt relieved. That's good, our family is developing well, and I've returned to the army as a doctor. I heard, congratulations. I also heard that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs also wants you. The person Bai Shui admires most now is Feng Qingxiu. She does not rely on her marriage to make people look up to her, but on her own ability. Being respected by everyone is a model for lesbians to learn from. I used to be so narrow-minded that I thought that marrying a powerful person would last a lifetime. In fact, marrying a powerful person may get the glory and wealth you want, but you will have to live in a life all day long. In the midst of trembling, I couldn't stand up straight. Feng Qingxiu pursed her lips and smiled. She heard the admiration in Bai Shui's words and knew that she had really figured it out. Knowing your mistakes can lead to great improvements, which is vividly demonstrated in Bai Shui. Of course, this is provided that no irreversible mistakes have been made. If a big mistake has been made, even correcting it will not help. Just when she was about to say something, she heard someone calling her outside. Feng Qingxiu said quickly, "Someone called me, hang up first." "Okay, you get busy first." After hanging up the phone, Bai Shui told Su Junlin the news she had learned. Su Junlin's old face suddenly turned red, turning purple. My Xiang actually did such a thing. Fortunately, he was still thinking that his daughter was divorced and had no job. He discussed with Bai Shui and sent her some living expenses every month. Bai Shui glanced at him. Qingxiu doesn't know how to lie. I know Comrade Qingxiu won't lie, but was shocked by what Mei Xiang did. It's really hard for Shenqing. Su Junlin felt pity for this former son-in-law. If you marry a good wife, you will prosper for 3 generations. If you marry a good wife, you will destroy it. No. I have to call Shenqing. My salary is given to Mei Xiang. How can they live together? People can't be too greedy and shameless. Bai Shui said, "Whatever you want. Just listen to me. Su Maixiang wants money, and she doesn't have a cent. No, don't say a cent, she doesn't have a cent. If you want to help Shenqing and your grandson, that's fine. Just can't give it to Su Maixiang. Shenqing is a kind person and there is no harm in building a good relationship, but it is useless no matter how nice he is to Su Maixiang." Su Junlin felt very at ease. "I'll call Shenqing first." After answering the phone, Shenqing's first sentence was to apologize. "I've heard the whole story." "How can you apologize, kid?" "You're right." Su Junlin sighed. "In the end, it was me who was stationed in the army for a long time and didn't educate her well, which caused you such a big mistake." Grievance. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1555. People have to be conscientious. Su Junlin may not have much ability, he just has to get seniority in the army, but he distinguishes between public and private affairs and has an upright character. Shenqing also felt uncomfortable. It is not one person's responsibility that we are in this situation. I also have a big responsibility. I have not done it to teach my children in front of the family or my wife in bed. Don't blame yourself, old man. What about me? I will raise Shenfeng well, and I don't expect him to achieve anything, I just hope that he can be an upright and kind person. In the past 2 days, he took care of Shenfeng and found that Shenfeng had many bad habits and was domineering in school. He was really ashamed and regretful. It was his responsibility to teach his children poorly. Therefore, he had taken his annual leave to correct Shenfeng properly. Su Junlin sighed. The biggest responsibility lies with Mei Xiang. She can't live a good life without causing the couple to separate. I also wonder, how can she develop such a character? She is simply shameless. Shenqing, what's the matter? At this point, I won't say any more. The more I talk, the more I feel ashamed and sorry for you. I heard that you still have to pay Mei Xiang 170 yuan every month. That's the alimony for Comrade Sumaiziang. This word was said by Sumaiziang. Why give her so much? You are kind and caring, just give her 30 yuan a month until she finds a job or gets remarried. You still have to raise children, and you have to marry again in the future. Which doesn't cost money. Good boy, think more about yourself and your child. Even if you don't give her a dime, I won't say anything wrong about you even for her biological daughter. Su Junlin felt that Sumaiziang was going too far. Shen Qing smiled lightly. I put Shen Feng first, so I won't mention marrying him again. He is so old, has a son, and has to pay for his ex-wife's living expenses. The remaining income is just enough to support the children. How can he dare to delay those lesbians? He was very afraid that if he married another Sumaiziang and come back, he would cause chaos in the courtyard. He said this to Su Junlin, and he also said this to Yes Yangqian. There is only a wall between the two families. They are both middle-aged comrades who have divorced their wives. Without Sumaiziang in the middle, they have picked up the old revolutionary friendship and often drink and eat together. Are you really planning to live like this with Shen Feng? Yes, Yang Qian asked. You are living a good life with Ye Yan, and I can live a good life too. I am no worse than you, Shen Qing replied. When you talk about me, think about yourself too. You have been divorced for several years, no. Planning to marry again. Ye Qian took a sip of wine and sighed. If you have a stepfather, you will have a stepmother. No one can guarantee that they will remain the same. I'm afraid that I will be affected and ignore Ye Yan. Ye Yan is his beloved, and he doesn't want to become the second relative who hurts Ye Yan. The first one is Tang Xian, his ex-wife. Not long after the divorce, Ye Yan looked for his mother every day, but he was suspended for investigation at that time. Fortunately, he was still living in the military compound at the time, so he sneaked to the place where the art troupe was to look for his mother, but Tang Xian avoided her. He didn't see him, but he still said hurtful words, wishing that Ye Yan would die to wash away the sins that Ye Zhenjun had brought to him. The little Ye Yan just stood there blankly, letting Tang Xian insult him. Ye Qinqin's heart was split in two at that time. From that time on, he decided to work hard, show off his personality to protect his son from the wind and rain, and leave everything he had to his son. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1556. After Shen Qing listened to Ye Zhangqian's words, the two of them looked at me and I looked at you. They seemed to have sympathy for each other. Raising the glass of wine in his hand, Shen Qing said, let's not talk about it from now on. Let's raise the children first. If the children are raised well and the work is done well, it is better than anything else. There will be no regrets in life. Ye stepped forward and raised his glass in return. Now that he focuses on his work and his son, Shen Feng's life is not that easy. Although you can now eat meat buns with peach blossom noodles and braised pork every day, Shen Qing is more strict in discipline. He pulls him up every day before dawn to run and walk, and he uses a method used to train soldiers in the army. He was so tired that he complained endlessly. Compared to Shen Feng, Ye Yan lived a happy life in the Lu family. Feng Qingxiu received responses from previous submissions one after another. Without exception, all of them were published. However, there was no response from the recently sent ones. It must have taken a long time to receive a response. She held the remittance slip and counted it. After counting the amount above, he asked Lu Jiangdao with a smile on his face, are there any overseas Chinese stores or friendship stores in Wuchen City? With the foreign exchange receipt, she can go to the bank to exchange RMB and receive overseas remittance coupons. In fact, foreign exchange coupons are the most appropriate way to describe it, but there are no foreign exchange coupons issued now. That was in the 1980s, and they were used for the same purpose as money, unlike now where money and overseas remittance coupons are used at the same time. Overseas remittance coupons are issued by province, and there is only one set. There are also overseas remittance coupons in Hebei province. Lu Zhang shook his head and said, "I've been so busy lately that I don't have time to hang out. I really don't know if there are these two stores in Wuchen, but there are designated stores for overseas remittance coupons. There are no overseas Chinese stores or friendship stores. There must be other stores for you. Use remittance coupons." That makes sense. Lu Zhang had a rest today, so she took Lu Zhang to the bank. The military compound is equivalent to a small society, with everything you need, including a bank. The bank staff exchanged the money for her and issued the corresponding overseas remittance coupon. As expected, it was an overseas remittance coupon issued by Hebei province and could be used within 3 years. The other party then said to Feng Qingxiu, "There is no need to go outside, we are in the courtyard. You can use it at the service center. The items in our compound service center are more complete than some department stores outside. There is nothing wrong with this, it is a fact." Because the expiration date of the overseas remittance voucher was relatively long, Feng Qingxiu was not in a hurry to use it, but put it in her shoulder bag. The couple had a rare opportunity to be alone. After leaving the bank, they walked back slowly, admiring the withering beauty of late autumn. The autumn wind suddenly picks up, rolling up the fallen leaves, fluttering in the air like yellow butterflies. It's so beautiful. I'll draw an autumn scene when I get home. It's a pity that we can't hold hands, Feng Qingxiu thought regretfully. In these evil times, the couple act like strangers when they walk outside. Just as Lu Zhang was about to say something, guard Lu ran over panting, "Boss, there are guests at home. Aunt Quillan asked me to tell you to go back quickly." "Who's here, so sudden?" Lu Ran listened to Feng Qingxiu's question and smiled. Aunt Quillan said it was her revolutionary comrade in arms, Comrade Cheng Baoqiu. "Cheng Baoqiu is here?" Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu immediately quickened their pace. Before they reached the door, they heard Cheng Baoqiu's hearty laughter. "Er Xiong, can you fly high? This is the bamboo dragonfly your elder brother asked me to bring you." As soon as the couple entered the door, they saw the triplets playing with bamboo dragonflies, and the yard was full of laughter. 10,000 words completed, tickets. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1557. The triplets rubbed their hands together, and 3 bamboo dragonflies flew into the sky. In a moment, 2 fell to the ground, and 1 continued to fly crookedly. The one that continued to fly obviously belonged to Lu Erxian, because Dun Dun and Zhuang Zhuang picked up the bamboos on the ground one after another. Dragonfly. All of them had rosy cheeks and bright eyes. "My best." As soon as he finished speaking, there was a snap, and Lu Erxian's bamboo dragonfly fell down, landing right at Feng Qingxiu's feet. Lu Erxian rushed over to pick up his bamboo dragonfly and saw his parents' feet at the same time. "Dad, Mom," Lu Erxian raised his face and raised the bamboo dragonfly happily. "Big brother gave it to me. He also brought me a slingshot, wooden horse, grasshopper, and delicious food. Big brother is so kind." Feng Qingxiu touched his sweaty head and said, "Yes, your brother is very good. I miss you too." When she said this, Lu Zhang had already greeted Cheng Baoqiu. "Uncle Cheng, how are you at home? Are you coming here for a vacation or a business trip? If it's a vacation, stay longer." Because there were guards and orderlies at home, Lu Zhang didn't call him third uncle. Cheng Baoqiu's voice was loud and he said with a smile, "I'm really here for a long time this time. I'm here for a year and a half. Don't bother me." After hearing this, Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu had questions in their eyes. "I'm retired," Cheng Baoqiu laughed. Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu were shocked. "What? Are you retired? According to the historical trajectory of his previous life, Cheng Baokyo had been in Huihei City for more than 10 years. He was directly promoted after the end of this catastrophe. He did not retire until he was 75 but turned into a sinecure. Is he retiring now? This was never expected. Cheng Baokyo spread his hands and said with a smile, "Yes, I am retired. I am getting older. I am over 60, my mind is not flexible anymore, and I am no longer qualified for the job of a top leader. If I don't retire, who will? No need to waste national resources. It's good to retire and have nothing to do. Come live with your aunt and take the triplets back to your hometown when you get tired of living there." Now that the country is basically at peace, Lu Zhang can fully protect his family, and there is no need for him to occupy his position and not give up his position. He could have been promoted directly to the provincial capital Jinling. According to the level, he could still work for a few more years and there would be room for promotion in the future. However, he did not want to leave Huihei City, so he went through the retirement procedures on the grounds of old age and illness. Cheng Baokyo had no children and naturally did not have much ambition in his official career. It made no difference to him to leave early and leave later. If it were an era of war, he would never retreat. Isn't it the end of peace now? When you get older, step down earlier to make way for the younger generation, so as to avoid old fools from making mistakes. While the triplets were playing with bamboo dragonflies in the yard, Lu Zhang, his wife, and Cheng Baokyo walked into the main room to prepare for a long talk. Unexpectedly, Lu Zhang and his wife discovered that there was an extra guest at home. She is a girl about the same age as Fu Bao, with ragged clothes, a reserved expression, sparse and yellow hair, and a dark and red face. Fu Bao is inviting her to eat fruit. "My name is Lu Tianhui, what is your name?" Lu Area, the little girl whispered, holding the fruit in her hands and not daring to eat it. Wan Quillan said lovingly, "Area, eat, don't cover it up, I'll pour you some water, ah." Just as Lu Area was about to take a bite of the mi sandeo in his hand, he suddenly saw Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu coming in. They looked like people walking out of a portrait. They immediately stood up and looked at Cheng Baokyo uneasily. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1558. Only then did Cheng Baokyo remember the girl he had brought, and turned to Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu and said, "This child's name is Lu Area, 1 year older than Fu Bao, and she is the granddaughter of a veteran in our Huihei city. The veteran passed away and was on his deathbed. Please ask me to bring this child here." Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu raised their eyebrows, and Feng Qingxiu smiled gently at Lu Area. "Your name is Area, what a kind name." Lu Area nodded slightly. "Hello, Auntie. How about you? You and your sister listen to Grandma and drink water and eat together. We have something to say with Grandpa Cheng." Since some things cannot be asked in front of the children, they went directly to the study room. While Feng Qingxiu was pouring tea, Cheng Baokyo sat on a chair, sighed, and said, "Area is a pitiful child. Her father died in a mining accident, her mother had a difficult childbirth, and the children were not saved. His grandfather is the demobilized soldier, was a soldier I brought out before. He always knew that I was working in Huihei City, but he never came to me. He came to me last month because he didn't have much time left." "Please adopt this child?" Lu Zhang asked. Cheng Baokyo shook his head. "No, please ask me to send this child to her grandfather and grandmother's house." Feng Qingxiu was surprised and said, "Kissing grandpa and grandma? Aria's mother is a child adopted by Lao Lu. Her father is a son-in-law. Once her parents and grandfather pass away, she has no other relatives. There are not many good families willing to adopt a girl. Lao Lu told me, Aria's mother's biological father is in the army under your control. Aria's mother originally fostered him in his home, but she never came to pick him up. Aria's mother didn't want to find him, so she wanted to support Lao Lu until he died. Unexpectedly, after hearing the bad news about her husband, Lao Lu died in childbirth with old wounds from the war and collapsed. Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu looked very serious. Who is Yan Yang's biological father? Cheng Baoqiu took out a few photos from his pocket and handed them to Lu Zhang. My surname is Lu, and my name is Lu Zhenqiu. Is he the deputy commander of your army? Yes. Third uncle, they don't have the same name, right? If there is no contact for so many years, how does Mr. Lu know that the person he is looking for is Comrade Lu Zhenqiu? Lu Zhang first raised this question. You won't admit your mistake. Lu Zhenqiu's revolutionary comrade is named Wangijin, right? Feng Qingxiu nodded and said, yes, her name is Wangijin. I often deal with her. She is also the head nurse of the hospital. She has reached the age of retirement, but because of the lack of talents, she did not retire. While talking, she came close to Lu Zhang and found that the features of a young man in the photo looked very similar to Lu Zhenqiu. Not only that, but there are also photos of Wangijin when she was young. You can't be wrong seeing this, Feng Qingxiu said directly. Mr. Lu is also very good at finding people. Have you always been in contact? Cheng Baoqiu took a sip of water. No contact for more than 20 years. If there is contact, can Lao Lu ask Lu Zhenqiu and his wife to take Aria's mother back? The living conditions of Lu Zhenqiu and his wife are much better than Lao Lu. We haven't contacted each other for so many years, but we actually know that Lu Zhenqiu and his wife are here. Mr. Liu's investigative skills are pretty good. Cheng Baoqiu smiled after listening to Lu Jiang's words. Old Lu used to be a scout, the best scout under my command. The scout is responsible for intelligence work. Although he has been unknown for 20 or 30 years after demobilization, he is an old comrade. But it's not easy to get information about Lu Zhenqiu. Lu Zhenqiu is not an unknown person. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1559. There were many people like Mr. Lu who fought bloody battles and retreated to remain anonymous. Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu were in awe. After thinking silently for a moment, while Lu Zhang was still looking at the photos, Feng Qingxiu sighed. Third uncle, I'm just afraid that it will be difficult for Arya to integrate into the living atmosphere of Comrade Lu Zhenqiu's family. Although I rarely interact with Comrade Lu Zhenqiu in my life. Comrade Wangijin, but their family has many children, including a youngest son, a grandson, a daughter, and a granddaughter, 8 if not 10. So many children, Cheng Baoqiu was surprised. Yes, this is the result of the eldest son and daughter all working and not living here. Even if Feng Qingxiu didn't often interact with the Lu family, she would still inquire clearly. If my prediction is good, then the grandsons live in the compound army for convenience. It's convenient to make friends with the fellows in the compound and give them face when they go out. Cheng Baoqiu frowned. The grandson is here too? How many? How many are there in total? He thought it was just the youngest son and daughter and the eldest grandson and granddaughter, but it turned out that it included not only his grandson, but also his grandson. Feng Qingxiu thought for a while and replied, 1 grandson, 1 granddaughter, plus 2 grandsons and 2 granddaughters. Plus the younger son and younger daughter, that's really 8 children. Cheng Baoqiu suddenly frowned. Listen to what you said. It's hard to say what life will be like after Arya arrives at their house. The more children there are, the more disputes there will be. What's more, although Lu Arya and them are related by blood, they have no emotional foundation. The blood relationship is separated by another layer. Now not only Feng Qingxiu is worried, but Cheng Baoqiu is also worried. I'm not unfounded, third uncle. Feng Qingxiu sighed. Human nature is very complicated, so I have to think more. Cheng Baokyo said, you have considered it very carefully and reminded me that after Arya returns to Comrade Lu Genkyo's house, you will be in the same army. Pay more attention to her. If she is really excluded and wronged, I will think of other ways. It is estimated that Lao Lu does not know the specific situation of Lu Genkyo. If he knew, he would definitely ask me to find a home for the child before his death instead of sending it directly to Lu Genkyo. Whatever they can think of, Lao Lu can naturally think of it too, and Lao Lu is not stupid. Are we still going to send Arya to Comrade Lu Genkyo's house now? Feng Qingxiu asked. It was still too late to regret it. There are many families of retired soldiers in and outside the army who have no children. Some have advanced ideas and are not patriarchal. Light girl. Cheng Baokyo thought for a moment and said, we're already here, let's find Comrade Lu Genkyo first. If the Lu family can't accommodate Arya, let's make a long-term plan. Since he was entrusted by Lao Lu, he must be responsible for Arya. Lu Zhang nodded and said, should we pay a visit, or should we find someone to ask Comrade Lu Genkyo to come? Call him here. I have to ask him if he still has a daughter who was fostered by them in Lao Liu's family. Cheng Baokyo said decisively, it's not a business. Lao Lu said, that's what Arya's mother said back then. It was also for this reason that she did not want to go to her biological parents and chose to stay with Lao Lu. You don't know that Arya's mother was smart and clever. She was originally a good student in college. She was a classmate with Tianjun. Her name was Lu Yuan. I was in poor health and didn't survive the birth. Are you classmates with Lu Tianjun? Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu were more concerned about Arya's affairs. Lu Zhang was about to ask the security guard to find Lu Genkyo, but suddenly remembered that Lu Genkyo had work today, so he said to Cheng Baokyo, third uncle, take a rest first. Let's get together with our family and find him tomorrow. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1560. Cheng Baokyo nodded indifferently. He had been with Arya for so long, and he felt sorry for this well-behaved and obedient girl. He also hoped that she would have something good to eat at the Lu family and first understand Lu Genkyo's situation. Arya is naive and shallow-minded. Fubao already knew from her mouth that she came to find her relatives. While inviting her to eat, he said to her, Arya, don't be so afraid. Listen to me. When you go to your grandpa's house, be sweeter and more diligent. If their children bully you, if the adults are around, just hold your head and pretend to be pitiful and don't fight back. When the adults are not around, beat them as hard as you want. Beat them hard. If they don't complain after the beating, tell their parents that they are ganging up on you and you can't help but fight back because you can't bear the pain. Feng Qingxiu followed Lu Zhang and Cheng Baokyo in. After hearing these words, she immediately felt that her daughter had the potential to grow into a king flower. She was usually well behaved and sweet, but she didn't notice that she was actually a cut black girl. Lu Arya's eyes widened. It doesn't matter if I beat them? Will they be kicked out? No way. Fu Bao grabbed a handful of croissant honey and gave it to her, then turned around and gave it to Ye Yan, who remained silent. Many people bully the weak and fear the strong. Just beat them until they are convinced. Of course. If they don't bully you and are friendly to you, you can get along with them and there will be no need to fight. In her previous life, croissant honey and honey shavings were very cheap. They were specialties of Weihai City and were also sold in military service agencies. When Feng Qingxiu bought those cheap shortbreads, she bought a lot of them when she saw them on sale. Recently, she bought them from space. I dug out a few boxes. It's very sweet and children like it very much, including Arya. Lu Arya ate and listened to Fu Bao's words. His thoughts changed drastically, and his previous fear also disappeared a lot. After dinner, Fu Bao invited her to rest in his and Wang Quilin's bedroom. You are wearing too thin clothes. You are shorter and thinner than me. Please wear my clothes from last year first. Don't think they are too old, but it's warm. But I can only wear it at my house. I'll wear the clothes you brought when I see your grandparents tomorrow. Why? Luaria asked humbly. Fu Bao said plausibly, although it is said that people need clothes, they need gold. If you wear shabby clothes and go to their house, some people may look down on you, but you have to let your grandparents see your pitiful appearance. If it weren't for them, they wouldn't come to pick up your mother. You won't come to them alone, you have to make them feel guilty about you and your mother. Luaria blinked her big round eyes and touched the autumn clothes and woolen clothes she wore. Although they were old, they had no patches. Fubao, your clothes are really warm. They are cotton, better than a cotton padded jacket. The pants are still warm. Fu Bao gave her a pair of trousers and a thick woolen double-breasted jacket. I heard my parents tell me during dinner that I would ask your grandpa to come over tomorrow. You will wear your cotton jacket and trousers tomorrow, and you will wear mine today. But it's not winter yet. Wouldn't it be a little hot for you to wear a cotton padded jacket and trousers? It's empty inside, and you don't even have autumn clothes or trousers, so the wind can't get in. Everyone is dressed like this, Luaria whispered. Little Fu Bao sighed like an adult. I understand, I heard my mother say it before. Come on, sit on the bed. Your grandpa's 2 children are in the same class as me. I will continue to tell you, we have to. Long story short. Yesterday I had a splitting headache, swollen eyes, nausea, and vomiting. It was quite overwhelming. I feel better today. I will continue to update this evening and make up for what I did yesterday.